Molly May, will you come out to play? Your smile takes the edge off of the day, and you're a light that brightens.
This is Molly May, a Bod Pause Pod and other nice stuff with me, Molly May.
Yeah, hey there, sweet angel babies. I'm Molly May. Today we are talking about a very big, very important, very real topic, and that's on eating disorders, the very, very present, rarely talked about eating disorders, and what it means to be body positive through that, or finding body positivity through that. It's huge. It's important. I will not and cannot even begin to unravel this topic by myself, nor through one episode. So today I'm very honored to have a guest to share her story with body positivity and her personal experience with an eating disorder. I want to be clear up front. This is very sensitive and maybe triggering to the audience. It is important to me that we create a place for a soft landing and be able to exchange stories with truth and vulnerability. This is a topic that is so important and must be a part of the conversation in the body positivity space. And with that, I'm very excited to introduce you to the beaming light that is Motala. She is an unstoppable force of brain power, heart, and a woman who is a rock to her people and loves them like no other. I've witnessed this. She is the definition of loyalty. Risa wears all the fucking hats. She's a founder of Noisemakers in Minneapolis, is a partner with New Loop Partners in Minneapolis, a broker by day, the first female president of the Twin Cities Film Fest board of directors. And I mean, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. She's doing this in her free time. She's a dream and I adore her. Risa, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, can you write every single one of my bios?
Wow, a joy. What did I forgot, we had connected before this and I forgot there was a buzzword that you said that you put in all of your bios. Something savvy. Financial.
Financially savvy,
Yes.
Excel, expert, pro forma wizard.
She can do it all, guys.
I took an Excel class just for funs.
Yeah, our brains they work very differently in that regard. I used to have Excel on my resume, as like a skill that I have. And then I'm just like, all I know how to do in Excel is type. Like I have to Google how to add a column.
Typing's a skill.
Should I put that on my resume?
I love that.
I can type at X words per minute. Thank you. She's proficient typer. Before we jump in today and start in like our little happy corner of the internet, how's your heart today? We're here recording separately with headsets on over an internet call, and I just like the distance is real. It feels so good I'm looking at her face, so that's a little joy for me. But how is your heart today and in all of this?
It's it's a work in progress. It's good, but the sun is shining. It's a beautiful day. There's a lot going on in the world.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get there. We're gonna come out of all of this a lot better and a lot stronger.
And that is like Risa in a nutshell. love it. We're going to do it together. We're going to do it. We're taking action. Shit is happening. Shit is moving.
I checked the spreadsheet.
I'll
We're
make a
getting there. You guys, I ran the numbers. They look good. I'm going to double check them. We're fine. We're
You
fine.
are savvy. So I want to start with this week, kind of taking a look into our wardrobe in discussing what I can't take off this week. I'll go first. So full disclosure, I went to Risa's apartment earlier this week just to drop off a microphone so we could record. And I was wearing my Crocs. And you guys, they are so clutch and so staple. But I realized in the car that now when I'm stepping out in public, like rarely when I do, I'm wearing my Crocs. And it's a rule that I had before that they would only be, the backyard shoes. But I took Rosie for a walk the other day, and I mean, I could feel the gravel at the bottom. Like I wear them so much that I could feel, like I'm wearing them thin. I love them so fucking much.
You've really worn them in there. I mean, hey, why not, right? I mean, they're a comfort.
I think they are just the best fucking shoe ever made. So ugly, but I'm here all the way for it. I'm obsessed with Crocs.
If you're listening, Crocs, you've got your new creative marketing strategist on the line.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, they now have slides. They have platform Crocs, which basically looks like I was texting some friends about it the other day because I sent them the photo. I was like, we need to get these matching Crocs. And my buddy was like, I already have these.
Oh,
and
God,
they,
it was so last week.
They look like doll shoes. Like they don't.
I love it.
It's so, and they're so comfy. So good. Get yourself a pair of Crocs today, I guess.
Apparently.
I'm obsessed.
Okay. It's been a long time since I've had to really think about what I'm wearing in the morning because the rare times that I do go out now for meetings or for one-on-ones, it's, it's like a standard. You have to kind of be professional, but I've been kind of living in my tennis skirt, which is weird, but it's like one of those things where at first it was kind of cute. Now it's just like, shit, I should really A, wash this, and B, I think it used to be tan. It's a little darker than it was before.
I fucking love it.
I'm also not sure because I feel like I've played a lot less tennis than I've worn this.
Oh, that sounds so chic. A tan tennis skirt.
It also is really great because when you go to the bathroom during the day, it just cuts down on time to unzip something. You just lift it up and you go.
Oh, it doesn't have built-in underwear?
Oh, no, not this one. Mm-mm.
Oh, what are those still? Was that a thing?
That is still a thing, yeah. My golf skirts have that. It's kind of awkward.
For golf, they do?
Yeah, they've got those little built-in. Are they skirts? Skirts? Shorts? Skirts?
Oh, where they're like shorts on the back and skirt in the front?
Yeah. And you're just like, all right.
Skirts were my jam when I was 7. That's fucking awesome.
I mean, they're still my jam. It's just, it's harder to pee in them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I was better at it when I was younger than I am now.
Love it. I remember in high school, our track uniforms had the built-in underwear. And at first I was like, what the fuck? This is so fucking weird. Ew. And then I'm just like, why doesn't everything I own have built-in underwear? It was so easy.
It's so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about your song of the week?
Okay, this one's interesting because I have been listening to a lot more music during the day. Because, no one around me, I get to dictate whatever I want to listen to.
Fuck yeah.
But what's interesting is a song popped up in my playlist and it was on the new hits or weekly hits or whatever. It's called Roses by St. John. And I just want to throw it out there that this song came out in 2016. And even though I heard it 2 years ago, I was ahead of the curve. All these damn TikTok kids like made it popular all of a sudden. And I was like, wow, I haven't heard this in a hot minute. I forgot how good this was. And then it like, bam, it was a remix. And I'm like, TikTok.
Fucking TikTok.
So I was a fan before anyone really knew him. Just saying.
I support you in that.
Thank you.
I go in TikTok waves, like every 2 weeks, and then I'll be like, oh, where the fuck did those 5 hours go? But the other day I was driving in my car and I heard some song, I don't know what it was, but I thought it was I thought it was just a TikTok song. And then I was like, oh my God, this is on the radio. Just like not connecting real life to the world of TikTok at all. And I was like, why did that hurt? It's like I've been living literally just in a little corner of.
It's okay. I have a TikTok to monitor my 14-year-old brother's social media.
Ooh.
It's really sad because I don't have a single video. I don't really know how to do them. I could probably figure it out. I'm not cool enough though. And I have 0 followers and I'm following one person. So talk about making it obvious.
Love it so much.
If anyone didn't know he was my brother, it would be kind of weird. Like there's this random woman following one teenage boy.
I tried making TikToks the beginning of quarantine as a way to like continue creating, kind of is what it ended up being. But I have a friend that gifted me the Heart of the Ocean necklace from Titanic because of Rose, the dog. And so we started remaking scenes from Titanic, like one iconic scene after the next. It didn't stick. I mean, I guess I could always come back to it, but that's as far as I got with TikTok. Doing TikTok takes so much fucking time, and then there's like a reason that they say don't work with animals on movie sets or whatever. But it's
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Oh yeah,
I know exactly what I'm doing tonight.
I'll send you the link. It's something.
The Oscars has opened up nominations, so basically anything that you record could be submitted for nomination. So I'll get on that.
Excuse me, what?
I'm going to submit your TikTok for an Oscar nomination.
Best
independent film. Best independent film, women directed, woman cast.
This is real? The Oscars opened up nominations?
Yeah, I was reading something about how they've opened up their nominations this year to include a lot more categories and submissions. And so, if a guy can record an entire movie on his iPhone and it shows at festivals, I feel like your TikTok would make it, Molly.
Wow, president of the Twin Cities Film Festival.
Just remember me in your thank you and acceptance speech, and you don't need to take anyone but me. That plus one right here.
It won't. I would love to think that. Yeah, copyright. I don't know. I keep going back to copyright. That is a lovely little nugget of information. Thank you so much. My song of the week comes to me in the same vein of yours, where it's like I'm home alone all day and I can just like fucking dictate the mood. And this week, what's really gotten me through is Can I Kick It? Questlove. And Tribe Called Quest with Questlove. But it has just been the perfect fucking vibe all week. Just like I'm here, I'm chill, but also motivated. That's where I'm at today. I want to know what has brought you joy this week.
Well, definitely this moment talking to you.
Cute. Flattery.
Before this, last night I was one of those deep spiral rabbit holes on Instagram, like on your feed, and I get like this really like sick satisfaction of watching cooking videos. It's very like soothing. But I came across this one video of this like this baby like cooking, like putting stuff in a bowl, and he's just this cute little pudgy thing, and I just love him. And I clicked on the link, the tag, and he has his own page, and he's probably
Wow.
like 3.
Oh,
And yeah, I've watched every single video in the last 24 hours, and there's probably 50. And he just cooks like with his mom, and he's got a little chef hat. And my favorite is when he like mushes dough and then lifts up his shirt and he's like mushing his stomach, and he's just oh my, yeah,
oh, I
that's bringing me
love.
joy. Yeah, and probably, I think I said this earlier, like I ate half a watermelon. It was
Yeah,
perfect. It was like not sweet, too sweet, but it was sweet enough. It wasn't too cold. It was just right.
amazing.
I'm very hard to please, as you can see.
I love it so much. I'm gonna need you to send me that link because it's like I can go down rabbit holes of like, it's very, I guess, kind of America's Funniest Home Videos. I love babies doing funny stuff, or like when they get the giggles and can't stop,
Oh
or
yeah.
when animals do funny things, or it's terrible. I love watching adults like slip. If it's like,
Actually,
if it's not
yeah,
serious,
I'm
like,
not gonna let it. It's kind of funny too, though.
yeah, God,
Yeah, but I
yeah,
will. He's just, oh my God, he's so stinking cute.
cute. Send it to me.
I will.
I have the most tender little angel cherub vision in my head. What brought me joy this week? I was like, I shouldn't tell this story on the pod. And then I'm like, nope, it was the single most greatest joyful moment, maybe at least the year. If not, could be 5 years. I shotgunned a beer. And then, if you don't know what shotgunning is, it's where you stick a hole in the can and then you open the can and you just drink it really fast. We know how I love beer. And then I crushed the can and then I kicked it, but it banked off the wall and then went into the garbage can. And I was just like, pure fucking
And
like,
no one saw this on
I was,
video or what?
I was just like, I am an NBA star.
You
This
would have won
is,
TikTok.
I was like, this is the coolest I've ever been. So that was my
Oh
moment
my
of joy.
God.
It
You
doesn't.
know what? You win. Kobe he was cute and all with his little cooking tips, but you win. You win.
It just, joy is, I mean, like my cheeks hurt now thinking about this sweet little baby and then
Oh,
kicking beer cans into garbage
I love it.
it's pretty awesome. Speaking of going back a little bit to Twin Cities Film Fest, I feel like the first time that you and I really connected, like heart to heart, kind of that energy exchange, was at the Twin Cities Film Fest. And it was after the screening of A Perfect 14, which is a movie that you brought to the film fest. And the synopsis is basically it's a documentary exploring the world of plus size models in the beauty and fashion industry, and it's following the story of 3 women and kind of the ins and outs of it. And there's great discourse with magazines like I don't know, Vogue, Allure, and basically they're saying we would never have a plus size model in our magazine.
Mhm.
And there are a myriad of models. I mean, like you have like spots from Ashley Graham and Tess Holliday in there that are coming in and explaining what body positivity means to them. And also, like there's one model in there that's a body positive model, or excuse me, a plus size model, but she wears a fat suit to model, which just like blew my fucking mind.
Right?
And I just like, you and I connected after we watched this, and we just had the biggest watery eyes. And that kind of leads me into how did that film resonate with your views on body positivity, especially because you got to pre-screen it. So you were like, yes, the Twin Cities needs to see this doc.
Yeah, it's interesting because when we curate films at the Twin Cities Film Fest, we try to make sure that we really hit on the front-facing issues that are uncomfortable to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for me, just the way I see technology, I see issues like that as an art form. And film is an art form that you can really tell those stories. And watching that, it kind of hits in a different way because you're almost seeing it from an outside perspective, but it's a story that resonates with you because you've been in that position. But now you're watching someone else go through it firsthand, and it does make you feel really weird and uncomfortable because you're kind of like, it's not me, but I'm watching me, if
Yeah.
that makes any weird sense at all, you
Yeah.
know? And like, well, why wouldn't they just do X, Y, and Z? It just seems so obvious. So why wouldn't they just why wouldn't the editors of Vogue recognize that putting a plus size model on their cover is going to be so great and amazing and open and welcoming? And it's like all these things that you tell yourself that would seem to be common sense, but then you kind of go back and you have that internal conversation with yourself, and the answers are different. Because, right, then you have like a double standard for yourself and what you think is appropriate for you versus somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
there's a lo-
It's
there's a lot of conversations we have up here that are like, what?
yeah. It's like how I talk to myself versus how I talk to my best friend who may be going through a hard time or in trouble, but like I would never, it's hard, and that's a part of body positivity. And for me, it's finding a relationship with myself
Yes.
and kind of rewiring that conversation that I have in my head in terms of how am I showing up for me? And
Yes.
like you hit the nail on the head, like hearing the editors of these beauty magazines so blatantly call out we would never have a plus size body and fat is bad and fat is ugly. But then, so this film came out in 2018, right? And so they've been doing the festival circuit. But then to see how the body positivity moment or movement or space, whatever you want to call it, has evolved even since hearing the editors of those magazines is impactful. And I think there's a power to the people in this movement that, so watching the documentary to me was like, oh fuck it, I am a fat woman and it fucking sucks to hear that because I'm seeing myself in these plus size models and to hear that it's so fucking ugly. But then as the film progresses, it's like, oh my god, look at these fucking amazing fat women. Like there's a full range of emotions in it. And I want to talk about kind of maybe our childhoods and how this starts and seeps into our heads, this kind of this not enoughness. So your journey with loving and accepting and adversely fighting your body image started at childhood, like it does for most women, when we do so much watching and listening of the women around us, and raising us and watching it on TV and opening up magazines, fucking everywhere. How were you affected as a child regarding your body image?
I think, so much of that comes from, like you said, what is our external environments. and how that starts to resonate with us internally as we look at ourselves. And we're already so fragile and vulnerable at a young age, and anything that is around us is going to impact us, right? Whether it's negative or positive. And the standard that was set of what is fat and what is skinny, and it automatically went into buckets of this is what's right and this is what's wrong. And if you're right, you're awesome. And if you're wrong, well, it's your fault. And so I think culture played a big part of that. It was a lot to do with having this ideal lifestyle, this ideal image, that whole mantra of like, you can have it all, which, I mean, you can, but what's having it all? Like, what is all? So a lot of it had to do with how you want to look and how you want to have a future life. And if you work right now on having this image of being this perfect person or this perfect girl who had, which came with this notion that you had to have the perfect body, then in a sense, you were setting yourself up for success, and you were setting yourself up to be able to have this great life and all these opportunities open to you. And if you were fat, well, you were doing yourself a disservice and those around you by being able to say that you're never going to be good enough for anything. And that almost translated into both personal and professional careers and relationships. And, so it was kind of like one of those things where am I skinny enough? Like, what is skinny, but am I skinny enough? Do I need to be skinnier? It's like having people say, or those closest to you say, you're 14 years old, you have love handles, like you're not supposed to have that. And you're like going, what the fuck is a love handle? Like, what is that? And then being like, you see this, or I had 3 kids, or and I don't even have that. And it's kind of like, oh shit, well, if you are 15 years older than me and you just had 3 babies and your body is perfect and I have zero excuse for not looking like that, there's something wrong with me, and I need to find a way to make a change. Because, and especially for me, like growing up culturally too, you don't want to disappoint those around you, right? You want to strive to be the best, you want to be loved and appreciated. And not that, by any means I wasn't, it was just more so of the sense of, well, I'm not going to be good enough, right? I'm always going to be falling short if I don't strive to be a certain way.
Yeah. So there is an inherited cultural pressure, right?
Absolutely.
To look a certain way. And you and I have discussed this before. The cultural pressure to look a certain way in your body, maybe it's a familial thing, maybe it's where you grew up. And I'm wondering how do you balance those messages respectfully, like setting boundaries, while also focusing on living your life and not having your skinniness, in quotes, be your spotlight feature? Because from someone who has gone through ups and downs with the roller coaster that eating disorders are, and there's a weird thing that happens in eating disorders where you get praised when you're at your skinniest and when you're at your hardest spot. And I just asked you 10 questions in one moment. I want to get back to like how to respectfully maybe set boundaries and be like, this is it's not just a cultural thing, because it's me. How do you navigate that?
I think I had a harder time growing up, not in the sense that it was harder to set boundaries, but because I think I internalized it for so long and I accepted it as a flaw that I had, rather than this is not an issue that I should be concerned about. It was almost as if this was just a part of life and this was the way it was supposed to be. And I think you and I've had this conversation where I didn't realize until I was older that I really did have an issue and I did have a problem. But a lot of it came more from having to sit down with a medical professional and say, like, let's look at this, take a few steps back, and let's reevaluate what is really going on here. And up until that point, it just seemed like, well, this is the way it was supposed to be. And I was just one of those girls, unfortunately, who wasn't blessed with being able to, eat whatever I wanted and still look the way I did, right? Because that also falls back into that whole stigma of, growing up like, oh, I can eat whatever I want and I look this good. But did those people really do that? Or was that just something that they said to put out there? And, what was going on behind the scenes? And so much of that came out, right? And culturally, it's like you can't really find that boundary when you're so young and you're always in that environment because you don't really know anything else. And then you step back and then you're like, okay. So for me, it's fighting the small battles and understanding what you just really have to let go sometimes. You're just not going to win every battle. And you have to be okay knowing that just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean you're going to be able to change a perspective or a mind. And that goes with anything in life, I think, at this point. It's definitely going to take a lot more acceptance from a lot of people who may not want to be willing to realize that, we need to move past that.
Yeah. I remember growing up, and it's wild to look back and think about how often my wheels were turning about my body. And it ebbed and it flowed, and I was not a chubby kid, but I remember remarks from people that would be like, "Oh, you need to stand up straight because it looks like you have a belly." And then, being a four-sport athlete in high school and then, going to college and gaining weight and being like, why don't I look like that? And I remember having conversations with my friends about, it's so fucked up. Like, we would have conversations that we are not mentally tough enough to have eating disorders. Like, oh, it seems like so easy. I can just fucking puke. And it's like, what media was giving us.
Yeah.
It's so fucked up. And it was like ingrained in me. And there were like periods of my life. I mean, I did Weight Watchers how many fucking times, and diet pills, and I would try, not eating and then being like, oh, I can't, and then I would binge eat. But I would also carry around a notebook and write down absolutely everything that I ate. And it
Yep.
was something that I was praised for, and that it like showed discipline.
It almost made it seem like you were accomplishing a goal that you didn't know you really set out to accomplish, and all of a sudden it became a big part of what you were trying to do with every other part of your life.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly.
I used to have one of those planners,
Yeah.
where I used to write down, I'm very type A, so I used to write down everything I did hour by hour. And it was really bad up until, well, actually it's still pretty bad. But a big part of my planner in the back had a food log.
Yeah.
And the worst part of it was that food log, it came as part of my planner.
Wow.
It wasn't something that I put in there, but it came as part of my planner as like one of those inserts. And it was a year long of me writing down everything that went in my mouth. It was insane. And I remember going on a date with a guy once, and I wasn't even thinking about it. And I remember ordering a salad, and he was basically just sitting there and he chuckled and he goes, I'm so glad you're one of those girls who, recognizes that they can't have a burger and still like, look good. So, it's like, and then you just sit back and you're like, actually, I just wanted a salad.
Yeah.
I was like, it's that avocado right in there.
God damn it.
And he was just so serious about it. And I just stared at him. And thankfully, it was at a different point in my life, and I remember being like, and this is where it ends.
Good for
But
you.
I think 5 years before that, I don't think I would have gotten up and left.
Yeah. That's that's a whole other topic, right? Of food as punishment or food as, like you can't enjoy it. Like you can't go have grandma's cookie because you had Cheerios for breakfast. Like
Yep.
and it's so constant. And diet culture, I can only speak from my experience. Um, it is something that is so ingrained in me. It, it's gonna take forever to unwire, but I'm now grateful to say that I'm at a place where I can identify in my head where my self-talk, my self-speak is less than, and I'm kind of going back to my old ways of diet culture and putting blame on my body for things in my life that may not be going my way, like, oh, this didn't happen because you're fat, or you didn't get that job because you're fat.
100%. It's so hard to still sometimes come to terms with this idea that your happiness will be derived by the size of your genes that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, about 2 years ago, I did like a full clean out of my closet. Like I'm talking clothes from like high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like just really going through it. And I remember pulling out a couple pairs of jeans and being like, these are so cute. Like, I wish I could still wear them. And
Yes.
then looking at them and being like, well, they're a size 2. And now anyone who knows me in real life knows I'm not a size 2 any longer. um, and I, I actually stood there and I'm I can throw things away. Like I don't have a lot of emotional attachment to things. But for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, those damn pair of jeans, I could
Yeah.
not throw them away. I literally stood there and had a conversation and convinced myself, you will fit into these in 3 months.
Yeah.
Now, how the hell I was going to go from a size 6 to a size 2 in 3 months is beyond me. I mean, I don't consider myself a dumb person, but in that moment, I was just so sure of it.
Yeah. That's the part of the dialogue that goes on in the brain of setting this goal and proving it to myself that, oh, I can fucking do that. I can do that. And it's such a waste of my brain. Um, Such a fucking waste of my brain. Like I have a pair of, we call them, God, what do we call them? I wanted to say Spanx, but I don't know if we didn't call them Spanx. Spandex shorts that we wore for
Mm-hmm.
volleyball. And they're tight and little and basically just like the underwear inserts. I saved them because in my head, I wanted to remember how small I was at that time as like a physical unit of measurement to like look back on. And that's not unlike keeping the skinny jeans, what people call skinny jeans, in their closet for another time. But it's hindering to your mental health and growth. And it's like, get that fucking shit out of there because I need to live right now in this fucking moment. I watched an episode of Queer Eye today where Karamo is like, all we have right now is this moment, right now, this moment. It's not about the size of fucking pants you wore in high school, you crazy fucking bitch. But that's another thing, is that then the cycle
Right.
is like, I'm like, oh, I'm a crazy bitch because I wanted to save this.
Exactly. Well, and it doesn't help that we have, systems in place like your body mass index and measuring your fat when you go to the doctor and what's considered healthy versus obese versus overweight. And I remember getting so into that because that was the
Mm,
scale at which you measure what you were. And if for me, it's like if I was not 17% or 17.5%, then that was like the end of my adolescent world, right? And in hindsight, you're going, you're a crazy little girl. Like, what were you doing? And I think you and I have shared this before, but I remember the first time I did try to throw up, and it was the one and only time. And it was like, I think that was like a little switch going off saying, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What some guy told you like you weren't hot enough because you need to lose a few pounds like in your cheeks. Like I don't even know how you lose fat in your cheeks. Like I don't know what to do. I like do I do just like move them up and down and I'm like I don't know. And that's like what happened, and I just sat in my bathroom going, this needs to stop. Like this is not okay. But you're right, getting that praise from other people saying, oh my God, you're losing so much weight. You look so great.
Yeah.
Psychologically, you're sitting there going, wait, did I not look great before?
Yeah.
And also, who decided what was healthy for one person was automatically healthy for somebody else? Like, I love how everyone who lacks a medical degree wants to sit there and say, well, by the way, this is not the kind of body weight you should be carrying. It's like,
Yeah.
why did you ever think it was a good idea to go up to someone and say, hey, you know what, if you lost some weight in your cheeks, it would really pull your cheekbones together and you'd be so much prettier. Like that is not what a 16, 17-year-old girl needs to hear.
Right. Or I'll be more likable, or
Yeah.
I will go on a date,
Yeah.
or I will, when I am skinny, I will finally be able to concentrate on school.
Yes, or I'll finally look good in this outfit, or maybe I'll be better at sports, or it's just it's that thing. And I think personally for me, and like you said, we can never speak for anybody else. I am in my very late 20s and I still have that struggle so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Going one day I'm like, fuck this, like I'm healthy, I'm good, I'm great. And then the next day it's like, woman, you need to lose like 15 pounds. Like what the hell is wrong with you? Did you look at yourself in the mirror today? And it's like this whirlwind of emotions going through your head constantly. And it goes back to being in certain environments culturally or in certain situations with friend groups or outside friend groups and media telling you still what is right and what's not.
What's in your tool belt for when that rears its ugly head again at you and you're getting that I'm not enough, or that photo of me from the side is not how I perceive myself, so I need to starve myself today. How do you combat that?
Well, I mean, I hate every picture of me, so
Oh!
no.
You're a legit fucking angel queen model.
I mean, first of all, I think ever since I met you, I would probably call you, but you'd hear from me way too much. You'd be like, Johnny would be like, Reese's on the phone again. I don't know why I'm acting like you have like a landline and he's picking up your landline. Like I have no idea why I just did that, but
I love that image of us.
It's really cute. I love that.
Reese's on the phone. Love
honey, Reese's on the line. And you're like, oh my God, is that why the internet went out? It's really it's so tough, and I think right now it's the older I get, it's not so much the less fucks I'm giving, but I think I have to really, and by no means is this easy. Like it takes a lot.
Yeah.
Internally takes a lot, and I think where the true strength comes from is recognizing other strengths that I have. It's like I mentioned earlier, I'm really kick-ass at Excel. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just saying, like, I may carry a few extra pounds, but
No.
you want that spreadsheet? I will build you that bar chart, okay?
I love it.
I know what an if and or statement is. So I think it's recognizing the other strengths that you have and the other qualities that make you a really good person, and what people perceive you as and what you perceive me as is so different from what I think you perceive me as. In my head, if I'm having a bad day or I don't feel good in an outfit, I automatically am like, oh my God, everyone thinks I look so bad in this. But you're like, oh God, there's Raisa, bouncing around, just like.
Yeah. You do
like a
bounce
little
around.
jelly bean going up and down. Those some people are like, you're like a jelly bean. I'm like, I know, there's too much going on up here. And so there's that, but then also surrounding yourself with the right people and the right group of friends. I'm a big believer in a big part of who you are based on who you keep company with.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a turning point, and I didn't recognize that until my mid 20s, where I sat back and started realizing, I think like most young girls from the 90s, we all kept journals and diaries. We drew little hearts in there.
I
Yep.
found mine from 1995 the other day.
Oh God, I remember the one time my brother read my. That's a different story, but anyway, I still have beef with him about that. And read it to the family dinner table. Little
Hawk.
brat. But
Is this TikTok, brother?
no, that's the TikTok brother's 14. He's like
Okay.
27 now.
Okay.
Yeah. But I remember finding one of them when I moved out a couple years ago, well, 10 years ago, out of my parents' house. And I only read it probably like 5 years ago when I was cleaning stuff out and doing like this massive haul of just getting rid of crap.
Mm-hmm.
And holy crap, at the time, it's like you don't realize it, but the things you write down and the things you're thinking of and how your friends influence who you are was such a big part of growing up.
Yeah.
And in my mid 20s at that point, I had to sit back and go, what really changed? What really happened that made me realize? Because it's not like you change on your own. Situations and your environment and external factors shape you from who you're going to become. And as humans, we're always evolving.
Yeah.
And I had to look at who my friends were. And I mean, well, first of all, I am proud and I love you and I'm honored to know you. And I think that's the best part of all of it is that my experiences and my situation about certain issues from knowing people like you and other individuals that I've met over the last couple of years versus 5, 10 years ago are so different and so much better because I don't know if it's like a thing where you just start meeting better people or you get better at picking better humans. But I think that was a big part of it. It was just surrounding myself with, and not everyone thinks the same way I do, and
Mm-hmm.
they're never going to, and they never should. I mean,
Yeah.
they should all be good humans, but no one should ever think that the way I think is the right way.
Yeah.
But have the value system in place. That was a
Yeah.
really long answer for you. I'm so
It was so good, and I went like just viciously nodding along with you.
I'm still thinking about your landline.
Yeah. I can like just bring over this headset. I'll connect you. For me, it is. I agree in that there's so much that we get from our relationships and even our community. So like, and I'm talking about like community in terms of even like this little faction of the internet that's like for fat women or for body positive advocates. And when we were at the screening of A Perfect 14, it was the first time that I was in a room where I was surrounded by other plus size models. And one of the questions in the review panel, it was, what's the plus size community like in the Twin Cities? And then we all went fucking nuts. And it's like, what's so cool is that not only do we have the internet where we can look at Ashley Graham and Tess Holliday and Gabby Fresh and Nicolette Mason, but also I can, look at what Wild Isles Swim is doing and, all the amazing models that I've met through them. And like my buddies are, I'm gonna cry, but it's like you said, there's like this cool fucking attraction moment where it's, I don't know if it's a hit a certain age, but it's like there's literally now relationships that are lifting up
Yes.
and filling the cup. You can't serve unless the vessel is full, and it's there's just like this swirling kind of support.
We
and
moved away from the mean girl friendship.
yes, And I don't know if that's maturity. I don't know if that's just growing up. I don't know if that's, just shucking relationships that we don't jive with. But there is something to say about how my self-worth is affected by those who are in my life and who I invite in my life. And even
Yeah.
when I'm having those less than days, I fucking am on the internet and I'm like, well, what is Gabby Fresh wearing today?
Right.
What is Alex Michael May wearing today? And oh, I don't like anything in my closet, but I can, kind of make up what she's wearing by bits and pieces. I'm just like spewing here. There's
Well,
like
you're
there's
right. No,
there's
you're
some
absolutely right about that. It comes down to just having women in your life who are uplifting in a sense that they're not just saying it, but they're actually genuinely doing it because they care about you and they care
yeah,
about your health, because that's what it has turned into. It's less
yeah,
about, it's like what was healthy eating back then? Like diet sodas and fat-free cottage cheese. And now we've moved towards let's be healthy. And when we move towards that let's be healthy, our bodies did change because now we were actually doing what was right for ourselves. And guess what? Everyone is different.
mhm,
Shocker.
yeah, yeah.
We're
What
not
works
cookie
for you will
cutters.
not work for me, and yeah,
Exactly. And the women around us realized that and said, yes, you may look different than I am, but, and I know this sounds so mushy, but inside, we all are the same. We all have
wow.
the same values. Put that on a sticker.
Call me on my landline. Uh, um, if you could sit down with 15-year-old Risa when you were, you know, first kind of fighting these feelings and going to the doctor and having them perk up and be like, what's going on here? The time that maybe it was like first internalized for you.
Yeah.
If you could sit down with that version of Raisa today,
Hmm.
what would you tell her?
So much. Like about so many things, you know. Um, I mean, I think outside of telling her that, you're going to be a mediocre plant mom one day, I would
Yes.
probably say you not to like not to shy away from having that conversation about food and about body image and about what that meant and what was the goal of that, and that it's not going to dictate the kind of person you become. It's going to be more about how you treat those around you, than what you look like. And I would probably tell her that one day you're going to be a size 6 and someone's going to tell you you're officially plus size now, because that is the sad reality. And I think it was in A Perfect 14 too, that where one of the editors from a photo shoot said, well, if you're anything that's not a 0 or 2, you're a plus size. I mean, I'm a 6. I'm considered a plus size. And
Wow.
so, it's, I think telling her that is just that, you know what, and that's gonna be okay. Your life is not gonna end, because that's what I
Right.
used to think. I would think that if I went up a size, I said it was over.
Yeah.
KO.
Yeah.
Like Mortal Kombat KO, like I'm done, I'm out, 3 rounds, it's over.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
I don't think she'd listen though,
You know,
because 15-year-old Risa had a different level of stubbornness.
yeah.
She
15.
knew a lot more, and back then, the Spicy Girls were dictating a lot more than you think.
Wow. Yeah. 15 was hard for me.
Oh,
Um,
14 was hard for me.
yeah, you couldn't be, I could not be spoken to. Yeah. That was
I
not,
think it was
mm-mm.
also, it was a weird time for girls, you know. It
Yeah.
was not, it was still the 2000s. As advanced and progressive as that sounds, it really wasn't. And I had just started 10th grade and I was just miserable. I was like, why am I here?
Mm.
You know? Yeah. 15-year-old, 14-year-old Risa was no beauty queen. Still not, but definitely not.
You guys,
Molly, I learned how to contour like 2 years ago, and I still can't do it right.
she's a fucking beauty queen.
Oh.
I am so grateful to have you in my life, and I am so honored that you would come here and have such a vulnerable and hard and truthful conversation with me in this space. It's something that I have never been able to talk about. And you know, it's an important conversation for women to have, because I have so many precious women in my life, and I want them to look at me and see joy and happiness and acceptance in my body, and that my body is not limiting my life. I don't want them to feel and to have this cycle in their head of not being enough because of how they look and how they feel in their body. And I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing with me and sharing with us. And I hope that this conversation continues and hopefully inspires a conversation within your friend group or within the women in your family. And, let's focus on loving each other and less on looking a certain way and forcing pain in our bodies.
I mean, I couldn't agree more, and I have so much love and respect for you. I truly do. I want to give you like the biggest hug, but I hate that I can't. I'm giving you a virtual hug. But I mean, I think I'm going to. But honestly, like I mean, truly, Molly, you're just one of the most spectacular humans I know in life. I'm not kidding. I want to be as cool as you one day.
This is like the end of the night at a bachelorette party.
Yes.
Where we're like,
I love you. You're my favorite.
No, you don't even know how much I love you.
Like, you're going to be in my life forever. Like, I'm never letting you go.
Oh, God.
I've never loved a boy more than I've loved you.
Yes.
That might be true, though. Truly.
Thank you so much. And it has been such a joy. You can follow Raisa on Instagram, and it is, I'm doing this from memory, RAESSAM.
RAEESAM. Close enough.
Say it again.
RAEESAM.
It's so much different talking out someone's handle than visually saying it.
Yes, it is. I have that all the time. Except, have you done that thing where you see someone in real life and you call them by their handle and not their name? That's embarrassing.
That's like how I know most people in my life.
Yeah. And don't worry, my parents. I mean, I think they love me, but they put an apostrophe in my name. Try getting a driver's license in America, in like Woodbury, with an apostrophe in your name at the DMV going, "Ma'am, we need your real birth certificate." This is my real birth certificate. Oh,
wow.
So fun.
She does it all, and she has an apostrophe. Thank you so much, Raisa. Smoochie.
Thank you.
And if you got this far in the pod, I'm impressed as fuck and really grateful to have you listening. If you want to know more information about me or the show, check out the show page on matriarchdm.com, where we host all of the What I Can't Take Off, our progressive Spotify playlist from the songs of the week, and obviously the reminder of who to follow for the week, all in a nice little fucking Matriarch digital media bow. Theme song is Molly May by Ben Karen. Like, I'll never get over saying that. It's so good, right? Thanks for listening. You're so cute.